Well, it might seem that California is on fire because of arsonists and years of total mismanagement of the forest by so-called environmentalists who can't name a single tree species. But that's not the case, according to the governor of the state, Gavin Newsom. He announced the real problem, which is your car, which is driven by gasoline because you can't afford a Tesla, you prole. So starting in 2035, Governor Newsom says California is going to ban the sale of all new gas-powered passenger vehicles. So that's going to mean you're going to have to buy an electric vehicle and charge it with electricity, which comes from a coal plant. And that will solve global warming. Right. Michael Shellenberger is the president of Environmental Progress and the author of Apocalypse Never, Why Environmental Alarmism Hurts Us All, as it does. He joins us tonight. Michael, thanks so much for coming on. So ban all gas-powered cars. If you don't have a Tesla, you're shafted. Will this help?
I mean, this is nuts. We've never created new technologies by banning existing ones. We didn't get jet planes by banning propeller airplanes. We didn't get gasoline-powered automobiles by banning horses and carriages. We're not going to get electric cars cheaper and more reliable, able to go longer distances by banning gasoline-powered cars. We've had electric cars on the market for 25 years. Last year, 2% of all new cars sold were electric cars. They're just really expensive. They have all the problems everybody's aware of, low range. And as you mentioned, if you were designing a policy to hurt poor and working people, this would be it. California's electricity rates went up 6 times more than in the rest of the United States since 2011. We had electricity shortages a few weeks ago. If you were to add our entire transportation sector and make it electrical, you would shut down the entire transportation sector when we're running out of electricity. So it's nuts. This is just pure politics. The governor is trying to distract attention from his terrible management of much more important issues. The fires, which resulted from forest mismanagement, the homeless crisis, which with 100,000 people, many of them severely mentally ill on the street. It's a distraction.
It does seem like almost everything the state of California does, and it's not alone, the state of New York is the same, other states are this way as well, is designed to make people below a certain income threshold much more miserable. Am I imagining that?
No, I mean, look at what happened. As the economy, over the last few years, with the economy going really well in California, it was poor and working class people who got cars for the first time, and it resulted in a decline in bus ridership in Southern California. When working people have a chance for freedom and mobility, I mean, Southern California in particular, but really all of California, we depend on our cars more than anybody else. We're spread out over large distances. Working people in particular need their vehicles. I just think there's a lot of people that really hate the freedom that cars have opened up. That's really the origins, as I describe in Apocalypse Never, the origins of the turn against mobility, against freedom, really start with a really dark impulse, a dark view of humans back in the 1960s.
I think that's right. And it's interesting how the population seems to become so passive that people just sort of nod and accept it and, okay, it's for the great, I'll wear my, my mask and like, I guess I won't drive, but I guess I can't really afford to live within an hour of the city because of your stupid housing policy has made it totally impossible. I have to live, inland somewhere. I guess I'll just ride one of your buses. I mean, like, why do people put up with this after a while? Any idea?
It's really manipulative. I mean, look, so many of us are here because we love the natural environment. We're here for the oceans, for the mountains, but we're being manipulated. We're actually being sold a bill of goods. These policies do not help the natural environment. As we've seen, the forests have been grossly mismanaged. It's been completely misattributed, grossly exaggerated the role of climate change. This is a state that's really, you can see what happens when you have unchecked power. We've had a supermajority Democrats. I'm a longtime Democrat myself. But this is what you get when you have a single party ruling with a supermajority. Yeah.
The lectures about the environment are almost too much for me to handle. These people hate nature. They're at war with nature. They ignore the imperatives of nature. They punish anyone who mentions those imperatives. And yet they're the representatives of nature? Yeah. Michael, thank you for articulate. Yeah, go ahead. You finish your sentence?
Well, one more thing. I mean, look, if the governor really cared about climate change, he wouldn't be shutting down our last nuclear power plant, which provides electricity for 3 million people without any carbon emissions. It takes 300 to 400 times more land to generate the same amount of electricity from solar and wind projects as it does from a nuclear plant. This is a nuclear plant that could operate until 2060, and he's trying to shut it down by 2025. Where's all that electricity for our vehicles going to come from if he keeps shutting down nuclear plants?
And wind farms to spoil the environment, as anyone who cares about nature can tell you. Michael, great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.